Welcome to the BumbleKast. I'm your host, Ian Flynn, the Bumble King, and joining me as always is my Bumble co-host, Kyle, JCRB Krause.
Hello, everybody. It's Wednesday time, and that means
very much Wednesday.
more priority time, because we have many questions to get through.
Yes, but before we get to that, I would be remiss if I did not give a big shout-out to a couple of our listeners. Big thank you to JR Unbound, who is doing timestamps for all the old videos.
Yeah.
And Universe, who has been tackling all the new episodes. And given how big these new episodes are, they're practically doing the same amount of work.
Almost.
Like, I think like 1 or 2 days will eclipse all of season 1. So just ridiculous. Anyway.
Yeah.
They've taken upon themselves to do this for us, and it is greatly appreciated. If y'all would like a free priority question or 2 or more, please email us, let us know, and we'll work something out, because that hard work should be rewarded.
Absolutely.
Y'all are awesome, and thank you so very much.
Yeah, get in contact with us and we'll do something for you. We'll get something going, because that is very much appreciated and awesome. And yeah, it's great, because I mean, we know we can't necessarily go back through all those now, all these old episodes, and do this stuff. It's a lot, Ian. It's a lot.
It is a lot. So thank you again.
Yes.
Very, very much.
Yes, thank you guys. All right, with that, let's go ahead and jump right on into some more Q&A action this week. Going to get started off with a question from Madeline Bluestar 7. Whenever Tails accesses Eggman's network at one of Eggman's bases, such as the base where Sonic and Tails met Bell, is Tails able to access the network at the same base again whenever the network detects Tails accessing it, or would he need to visit a different base each time?
Depends on the circumstances. If Tails is able to log in a way that doesn't trigger the security, then conceivably he would be able to use the same login again. But if Eggman took notice of it, he would lock down the security and Tails would have to hack in all over again. It's just a matter of how attentive Eggman is being at any given moment.
Yeah, he's got to open up them SSH and Telnet ports and get right on in there. You know. Remote access. Here's a question from Lemur Chicken. You had mentioned in the past that the buddy from Forces is never shown in IDW to allow for the reader to imagine their custom character in that spot. Would you hypothetically say Shadow the Hedgehog could be in the same boat? True story is, the only part ever necessary to mention, and the reader can simply imagine their own nonsensical path, is the canon one?
I don't know about that one. I mean, yeah, you're right. True story is the ending. So that's kind of locked. But the route Shadow would take there would be very different. Like the neutral route, where he resolves that he is the android copy and that the real Shadow died, just doesn't jive with the true ending, really, especially since either Shadow kills Eggman or Omega kills Eggman. You know? So there is a certain degree of nebulous Shadow took different paths to get there, but ultimately Black Doom has to get the Chaos Emeralds. So there's something that I would like to do at some point, because I'm such a friggin' nerd, is to go through the Shadow storylines and see if there is a reasonable, sensible canon path you can take, or if that's just a fool's errand and it's all just do whatever. Oops, here's an actual epilogue.
Yeah. All right, here's a question from Jolene B. Can Whisper's variable Wispon interface with wisps other than her partners? Would a gray wisp turn it into a jackhammer? Maybe a magenta wisp would turn it into a boombox?
Careful with those fan ideas.
Close.
I don't want to paint us into a corner, but I'm going to say probably not. Because if you look at your standard Wispons, they only really work with a particular wisp.
Mm-hmm.
And the variable Wispon is special because it can use multiple wisps, but that was built with the mindset of the group's wisps. Those specific 5, not just any old wisp you come across.
Mm.
But who knows? Maybe Tails could tinker with it further and make it even an even more variable Wispon.
Next up, a question from Joey the Sonic fan. What do you think Silver's Moebius counterpart would be like? Since everything on Moebius is reversed, would he be a crazy sociopath from a utopian future who craves destruction and travels back in time to wreck history instead of saving it?
Okay, so this should be the type of fan idea that we flag and say, don't do that.
Yeah, I kind of thought this one kind of was like...
It's so self-evident that I'm not going to get bent out of shape over it. Because, yes, that's pretty much exactly what I had in mind. When the whole premise of the Antiverse is you take what's established and you just do the opposite, it's kind of hard to say, oh, yeah, I came up with that totally original idea. It's, yeah. The pattern has been set. We just followed along. We connected the dots. So yes, Joey, we're pretty much on the exact same page there.
Yeah, but if it's the opposite world, wouldn't it be that he's actually from the past and he's traveling to the future to wreck it?
There's only so far you can take this.
I know.
It's like trying to make rational understanding of Bizarro speech. I did remember that I wanted to potentially call him Sterling. And if we got away with it, wanted to use the old Venice the Mink concept art with like the orange mane and everything.
Whoa. That'd be pretty cool. All right, here's one from Joestar SSB. Do you listen to anything in the background while you're in the writing process? Music, podcasts, etc. Personally, I'll listen to different tunes depending on the tone of what I'm writing.
Really depends on the day and the mood and what I'm working on. Usually, no. I need to just like be focused on my own inner voice and working on something.
Mm.
But sometimes I need that little extra kick to get me in the mood or get the heart going or put me in the right headspace. Or if there's something else going on around me, I'll need to put something on to drown out the other thing.
Right.
Don't ask me why listening to something isn't as distracting as the other thing that's going on. It's just that's how it works.
Sometimes, I mean, I get it. Sometimes the other thing can be more distracting because it's not what you're trying to focus on. So you can choose your own sound that makes sense. Yeah, I mean, I'm similar, but I'll also turn tunes on, of course, because I really should, because I do a show about video game music. But I mean, also there's times where I just really need to shut it off and do what I need to do. So I do a lot of I also watch many YouTube videos I have on in the background too, so I'd like to listen to those. And then of course lots of music, and then other times I just need silence. So yeah, just depends. We got a question from Jams. 2 Worlds is gone, and that's great. But I would like to know, if possible, is there any insight or discussion you may know about on what changed Sega's minds on this? I'm wondering if this was to further distinguish the movie universe from the main universe, or just something that was rethought after being presented with all the reasons as to why it didn't make sense within the games themselves.
It's something I can't talk about right now. This is a hashtag knowing the smile thing.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And we got a question from Happy Times. If you were tasked with making a Donkey Kong comic series, how would you go about it? What would the general format for stories be like? Would you try adapting any of the games along with creating original stories? Would the entire cast be able to speak like in the cartoon, or only leave some of them able to talk, like Cranky, and leave others mute, like DK?
That would depend entirely on what vision Nintendo had for the franchise, because obviously it's kind of changed over the years. Ideally, everyone would talk, because, I don't know, if Cranky could talk, but DK was just the entire time,
that'd be great.
It's entertaining in like a video game segment, but in a comic that's a little harder to convey.
I know.
So I don't know. I think he could approach it as like an episodic action comedy. I really like the wild and energetic take of stuff like Jungle Beat and a lot of the Smash Brothers cinematics, where everything is either super chill or dialed up to 11. There is no in between. And I don't know exactly how you would do that in comic format, but that would be the general tone I was going for, where you've got, fairly even keel setup. Things are going, we're kind of wondering where it's going to go. And then all of a sudden there's like 50 Kremlings on the page, and DK and Diddy are bouncing off each other, quite literally tearing the forest apart to knock them all down. I don't know if I'd do an adaptation of the games necessarily, because there isn't a ton of story to be had from the original trilogy. I think there's certainly some, don't get me wrong, but I don't know if it's worth the effort to try to breathe life into those, or just kind of gloss over them, or if it's better to use those as like the backdrop, as, oh yeah, that happened. Here's the quick flashback sequence to establish why K. Rool is a problem, and then you go about the new adventure.
Oh, here I was thinking the first 3 games as in the first 3 Donkey Kong games, not the first 3 Donkey Kong Country games.
Well, this is Donkey Kong, not Cranky Kong's story.
I suppose. And there's also the fact that, it eventually that whole line splinters off into its own Mario versus Donkey Kong series instead.
Yeah.
So. Yeah, the timeline is more convoluted than Sonic's.
Given what I understand of Nintendo and how they treat their brands, they would probably want to treat classic Donkey Kong as its own thing, and then the Mario versus Donkey Kong as its own thing, and then DK itself as its own thing.
Yep.
Probably would not be too fond of cross-referencing, and
Donkey Kong Generations. Yep, here we go. Classic, modern, and boom Donkey Kong. Yep.
It's stuff like that that just makes me appreciate what we have with Sonic even more.
Yeah, I can imagine it probably would do something like that. They'd be probably very hands-on, let's say, with with what's going on in the book. It would be neat, though. I think you could do it. But, yeah, dealing with Nintendo might be a little touchy. Oh, well. Here's a question from Finest Cacophony. Greetings and salutations to our favorite Bumble Boys. I like that. Been playing a lot of Team Sonic Racing lately, so I'm wondering, if Kit, Surge, and Starline were in TSR or an equivalent, what roles would each of them fill, such as speed, power, or technical? Or flight, I assume. Furthermore, what types of cars would you think each of them would have? You don't need to go into any specific models if you don't want to, just general car types you think would fit the characters.
It was technical because they didn't have any flying vehicles.
I know, but I think she was saying it like they're saying it if equivalent. So like if they were in Heroes or something too.
Yeah, but we're speaking specifically TSR, so
okay.
Surge would be the speed for sure.
Obviously, yeah.
I'm imagining Kit as the power.
Mm-hmm.
Believe it or not.
Well, water is extremely...
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then Starline as the technical, since he's all about, the multiple different abilities type of thing. He's got a lot of tools in his tool set.
And he is a tool. So it works.
You're more of a car guy than me, so I can't really think of any particular models to base them off of, but
man, if I'm thinking, I'm looking at Surge, and I'm seeing like a kind of a badass muscle car, just real sharp edges everywhere, just like super angular, got a motor with a giant blower sticking out of the hood and everything.
Something very loud and obnoxious.
Oh yeah, absolutely. For Kit,
you're driving an electric car. Why does it have a diesel engine? Because of
because of the noise. Gotta have the noise. For Kit,
he's got to have some kind of water cooled system.
It's tough to say. Kit would be like I don't know, maybe like a freaking airboat or something. I don't know, not an airboat, but I don't know. Kit's hard.
I'm just imagining some kind of like rear-mounted hydrogen engine that you see his water tails pumping into.
Mm-hmm.
And then when it accelerates, the animation for the water tails just kind of goes crazy as he's just pumping more juice into that thing.
Yeah, it's just got like a big water tank on the back of it. Just Yeah, I could see that. That'd be cool. And Starline basically just drives Cruella de Vil's car or something.
Yeah.
Something awesome like that.
Same like color scheme.
Like a super long hood, super long front end with like a giant engine in it. Yeah, that would be awesome.
Got little electro barbs on the wheels, all Spartacus style.
Uh-huh. That would be great. I like that. Look, we got 3 good cars here, man. Sounds
DLC
like a
win.
Yep. Yeah, too bad SEGA has elected to not care about TSR anymore, like almost immediately after it was released. Oh well. We got a question here from Exadel. Based on her level of education, did Jewel go to college? Was she a college party girl? And could she out-eat the rest of her sorority in a chicken wing eating contest?
This is assuming there are colleges on this version of Earth, but yeah, sure. Well, of course there's, because there's Spagoni University.
Yeah. Tails had to get smart somehow, or is he just magically smart out of the box?
Heck, she may have even attended Spagoni University. Why not?
Sure.
The answer is yes and no, because to drag her out of the dorm to get her away from her studies would take a significant application of force. But once she got into it, yeah, you couldn't out-party her. And she would wake up the next day going, why do all I taste is chicken wings? What happened? Why am I behind schedule? Oh, no, it's 8 a.m. I slept in. I need to get back to work.
Oh, no. Oh, no. Poor Jewel. Here's a question from Dr. Meccano. Or Dr. Meccano? I'm not 100% sure. Let me know. I have a question for your personal interpretation of the scene in Lost World, where Eggman leaps into harm's way to save Tails from a rogue Cubot crab meat. Given that this was spur of the moment and not something that Eggman could have planned in advance to manipulate Sonic and Tails, do you think this could be an example of Eggman performing a genuinely honorable or heroic deed? Sure, he needed to save Sonic and Tails to stop the Zeti, but he still risked his personal safety to save Tails in this scene and leaped to save him without hesitation. So could this be a sign of Eggman having some redeeming qualities, however small?
He does have redeeming qualities, and they are very small. I mean, once he realized the whole Ark thing was out of control and the world was in danger, he worked with everybody.
Yeah, he doesn't want to destroy the world. He just wants it for himself.
Even if that means destroying it. But, he'll put it back together. Like, when the Black Arms invaded, he was immediately on the front lines fighting them. Purely for his own conquest, but by goodness, he was in there fighting the good fight.
Well, yeah, he was there because, and damn it, if someone's gonna take over this world, it's gonna be me.
Yeah, so I think it was kind of a spur of the moment type thing, not something he even himself was thinking a lot about.
Yeah,
I would like to extrapolate from there and think maybe he has a modicum of respect for Tails, and if he's going to go out by one of his creations, it's going to be one of his purposeful creations, not one of these hodgepodge things that Tails happen to slap together.
Mm-hmm.
Sure, the Fox Boy can get nuked, but it has to be my nuke.
That's right. Yes, if anybody's going to destroy Sonic, it will be him and Sonic and Tails and all of his other enemies. Yeah, he's not gonna stand by and let everyone else take all the glory from him. And finally, before we take a quick break, we got this question here from Godzilla. I heard a rumor that the Freedom Fighters once tried to hold an intervention for Sally regarding her coffee addiction. Said rumor said Sally almost drowned Sonic in hazelnut coffee creamer when he suggested she try decaf once in a while. Are these rumors true or just an Eggman smear campaign?
I have been asked to direct all queries to the Kingdom of Acorn's Ministry of Information. I am not taking any further questions at this time. I would also like to thank the Board of Parole with the Kingdom of Acorn for letting me out on good behavior.
So it didn't happen.
Absolutely not. She is perfectly capable of maintaining her own caffeine intake, and no one else should question it outside of the royal family. Next question, please.
Well, we don't have any more questions because we need to take a break first. But then we'll have more when we come back on the BumbleKast. And we're back. And Ian is hopefully still alive. I don't think he got knifed in the back yet. And
I know what to say and when to say it. I can comply.
Okay, good. You've had a lot of practice. We got a question from Dreamboatin. So, hear me out. A Metroid spin-off where you play as either the SAX or Dark Samus, locked away on a solitary space station trying to survive, gather upgrades, and kill the other. With a secret fight against the real Samus at the end, of course. How awesome would that be? And would you play it?
That's a really neat premise.
Yeah.
Like imagine the map set up in such a way that SAX starts at like one end and Dark Samus starts at the other.
Yep.
And you have completely separate campaigns. What you would need to do, though, so that you're not just playing Samus with a different coat of paint twice, is do something that makes them each individually interesting.
Right.
Like Dark Samus, at a glance, I think would be slightly easier because she is so alien in comparison. You could play with the different move sets, maybe do hers as kind of a forced time limit where you have to destroy enemies and pick up health because it's constantly draining. Or would that fit SAX better to promote the predatory angle on it? And then, of course, no matter which one you play as and when, Samus has been sent in to make sure you don't get off that space station.
Pretty much. So,
yeah, no, that sounds like a killer game idea, and the fan community, I'm sure, can make something. So get to it. You want me to? I have no talent. What are you talking about? You guys do it.
What are you talking to me? What are you talking to us for? Why are you pitching this to us? We can't do anything with it. So I'm seeing here, SAX could infect and mutate others while Dark Samus can poison others. So, I guess that might be
because SAX was the X-Parasite's copy of the Power Suit. It was Samus at full strength hunting down a weakened Samus. Whereas Dark Samus is Phazon, which is all about corruption and mutation.
True, yeah.
So I'd say it's the other way around myself. But, this is all just off-the-cuff fan fluff, so it's not like one's really wrong.
Yeah. Maybe it could be like a timer involved. Like, you gotta take each other out before Samus gets there. It's a speed run thing, sort of. That might be pretty fun. Yeah, I like this idea. We need to do that. All right. Here's a question from Dove. So, did you guys have an embarrassing lapse of smarts about games growing up? What I mean is stuff like, I grew up playing Mega Man 2 and 3, and it took me until Mega Man X to learn boss weaknesses were a thing. I never beat Mega Man 2 until I was almost 20, and got to go back to it on the GameCube. I had X for about a year before realizing you could use boss weapons on other bosses. Anything similar for you two? Just mechanics or secrets, or even basic gameplay you didn't get and made the game harder. Side note, I did beat X the first time with just the Buster with upgrades.
Yeah, I got a couple stories.
I'm trying to remember any. Like, I know I've had some points of this, sort of like, but my memory is shot. So anyway, go ahead.
In the original Mass Effect, you explore various alien planets in this small tank called the Mako. And you are routinely attacked by giant worm monsters called Thresher Maws. And I was unloading clip after endless clip of my machine gun into this thing and chip damage.
Right.
And, jetting and rolling and driving and dodging and fighting this thing for an interminable amount of time. And it was really a battle of attrition. And about the third or fourth time I'm doing this, Aaliyah goes, "Why don't you use the cannon?" I said, "What cannon?" In the manual, it says there's the gun and the cannon. I said, "There isn't a cannon. I've used all the buttons." And that's when I hit the button and fired the cannon.
Whoops. There it is.
That made the fight go much, much faster.
Hey, you found it. That's good.
The other one wasn't so much a mistake as just obstinance. When Sonic Adventure first came out, the idea of the homing attack was insulting. This is Sonic. You jump on your enemies. You don't need to be handheld to hit an enemy. What is this homing attack garbage? Please, I will beat Sonic in the way Sonic was meant to be played, which is just jumping on enemies.
A little more difficult to do that in 3D space, isn't it?
I got all the way to Egg Viper using just spin jumps.
Are you freaking kidding me?
And what broke my resolve was in the Egg Viper fight, if you haven't played, Eggman rears back and creates 3 targets leading up to the cockpit.
Yeah.
You're meant to homing attack, hit.
Yes.
I tried to legitimately use the in-game physics to bounce up and hit the cockpit. It was not designed to do this, but I actually managed to do it with just enough consistency that I thought it was a viable option.
Sonic Adventure 1's physics. Yeah. not really made for this. Incredible.
See, I'm not that great at the games anyway, so I imagine there's somebody out there who could legitimately do this. Beat Sonic's campaign with just the spin jump.
Oh, yeah.
No homing attacks. I wonder if somebody's got a run out there who's done that.
There might be, but I mean, that's like ultra hard mode.
Yeah.
That's insane, dude. Just use the homing attack.
Oh, I
no one thinks you're cool. Just use the homing attack. I mean, it is kind of cool that you did it, but like, not like it's. I don't know. It's like, I don't even know how you did it. That's insane. I cannot. I mean. Here's the thing. I grew up with the same games you did, playing the same games for classic Sonic, and then playing Sonic Adventure, and it's in 3D, and I'm like, well, heck, homing attack. This makes things super easy. I like this. I never even had a thought of like, oh, this is not how you play Sonic games.
Well, this was also the dark and ignorant days where I hated Big the Cat because he was just so out of theme. What is a slow, fat fishing minigame doing in my Sonic game? Scandal, horror.
Sorry, that's the joke.
Oh, I got it eventually, and now I have accepted that big is love and big is life.
Yes,
but
and it's also annoying because the game does not explain very well at all how Big's fishing mechanics work.
No.
So trying to fish without knowing exactly how it works means you're stuck there for like an hour just trying to catch anything.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
although once I got all the upgrades, exploring big stages is one of the highlights of the game.
Honestly, yeah,
catch
kind of fun.
The fish and the frog that you need within like the first room almost. But there's so much you can find.
Yeah, it's weird. You can get through Big's campaign in like 15 minutes if you just want to go through it and you know how to catch the fish.
But there's entirely unique regions for him. And
yeah, it's just weird that they don't explore it. They don't have it explorable. It seems like maybe they had more plans for Big, but they never really got to him. They had to, maybe it seemed like his thing was kind of rushed.
Yeah, maybe the plans were too big.
Ha ha ha. It's true. Probably. Boo.
They cast too wide a net.
Couldn't hook it.
Mm-hmm.
Just couldn't get
That's the real problem.
It's terrible.
That's not up for debate.
Here's a question from Degama. Do you think there's a chance of SEGA being okay with LGBT characters if it's part of how the character is introduced to them? Does it sound likely that them vetoing Tingle and Whisper being together being more of a mix of these are now set in stone characters and the idea of them being together wasn't part of their initial pitch and we want to back away from romance in general? Could we possibly end up in a world where the first officially trans Sonic character predates the first officially gay Sonic character?
What I was told was that they didn't want the Tangle and Whisper pairing because they didn't want to explore romantic relationships in general. Not that pairing or that LGBT plus stuff was unacceptable, because they just didn't want romance in their franchise geared for teenage boys, which is another discussion to be had, but it's more tolerable in the broader sense, you know. I would be much more cranky if it was specifically, no, it has to be straight or nothing. If it's, no, romance is icky. Yeah. All right, that's another discussion to be had, but that's at least a little more palatable. As for a trans character or officially LGBT plus character in there somewhere, I can't speculate. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know if there's anything coming down the pike like that. I don't know what Sega's mentality is on it. And it's not something that I have personally approached recently, so I can't really speculate.
Yeah. Well, at least it's an equal opportunity thing. Like, no romance whatsoever at all in any form. So,
except, you know, for Vector and Vanilla flirting, but that's just a joke, a one-off thing.
And all the times they've had like little romantic things with Sonic and Amy in the Sonic Channel stuff, and
but we'll see. We'll see what the future holds.
Here's one from Damien B. Last year, you mentioned you want a story in pre-reboot to focus on Anti-Shadow and your plans for him and Scourge. What would Anti-Shadow have been like? Would he have been made as a weapon instead of as a cure for nits?
This was all going to be like Lost Hedgehog Tales territory stuff, but kind of like with the Anti-Shadow we touched upon, you know, take the core idea and inverse it. So, you know, Gerald started out as a benevolent doctor wanting good things for the world, and then went crazy and tried to destroy the world. So in this incarnation, Gerald would have been a warmongering evil son of a gun who sees the light at the very end and tries to undo the damage he's done. Ergo, Anti-Shadow would have been made as the ultimate weapon, but then Gerald in his madness would have tried to nerf him so he wouldn't be evil and malicious and whatnot. Likewise, regular Maria was a sweet and innocent beacon of light and hope and goodness. Therefore, Anti-Maria would have just been awful and a terrible influence on Anti-Shadow. So, I imagine Anti-Shadow would have been incredibly gregarious, super sweet, and just the nicest guy, and he will totally rip your spine out of your throat.
Oh, so he's silver.
Yeah, more or less.
Yeah, kind of.
He's going to burn down the world and do the cha-cha on the ashes.
Yep, that's right. Sure. Sounds about right. And now we got a question here from Chaos Sonic 1. If given the chance and no lawsuits on you and Sega/Sonic team, how would you make Julie Sue, all the secret Freedom Fighters, Hershey, Jeffrey, Mina, and Nicole fit the games and their mechanics?
Some of those work better than others. Like Julie Sue, I don't know if this would mesh perfectly well, but maybe some kind of mix of SA1, Knuckles, and Gamma. So you've got you have the climbing and the gliding and the platforming, but you also have the targeting and the shooting.
Yeah.
Maybe?
I can see that working. I
don't know if the pacing of that would work out, but that's an idea.
Or you could just make it all a visual novel. There you go. No mechanics to worry about.
Nicole, we've seen stages that take place in digital space. So, you know, just do that. She's in the digital space, and because she's a digital entity, she can program herself to, you know kung fu or whatever she needs to get through the stage. Maybe do something a little different with her playstyle so that it isn't just Sonic again, but she would make a reasonable enough transition within the rules of the universe. Mina is fast, so there's your speed, I guess, but she's not really a combatant. So maybe take like the boost stages and such and make them about time attack and avoidance rather than combat. Like, it's more about precise platforming and platforming puzzles and getting your timing right, and giving the musical angle to her, maybe kind of incorporate it into the beat. Like, if you can get into the rhythm of the stage music, that gives you a clue on how to time your jumps and stuff.
Right.
Maybe.
And
I don't know.
She's dodging. Maybe she could be dodging enemies instead of destroying them.
Yeah,
Running into them.
As
like
for
that.
the rest, I don't know.
Jeffrey's just another shooter, so
yeah, maybe.
Maybe Jeffrey could be like I don't know, go lean into the James Bond aspect of him and make him a sneaky kind of spy sort of gameplay.
Maybe, like, give him something similar between like Rouge's gameplay and the Avatar character out of Forces.
Maybe
use the bone the crossbow thing instead of the Wispon.
Yeah,
that's kind of pushing it a bit. The others, I'm sorry, they're story characters.
They're side characters.
I mean, I adore Elias. He's super cool to me, but no.
We need a Muzo game for him. We need Sonic Warriors.
Yeah. Give him those stupid, but I love them, stirrup weapons, and just have them twirly, punchy. But that's not a Sonic game, you know?
I know, but, I still want to see it. Sega, you really needed to call up Koei Tecmo and get on that. We really need that. Super Sonic Warriors, the name is already there. All you need to do is say yes and do it. Anyway, Batman69 Lol has a question. What is Auntie Cream like? Did her mother abandon her, opposed to being kidnapped? What would her place be in Auntie Sonic's world? Is she just some bad kid, or somehow is working with or against Scourge? How would she view regular Cream, and how would Cream view her?
A lot of anti questions this time around.
Very anti. Everyone's an anti these days.
With the Antiverse, the pattern is there, but if you want to make it interesting, you can't just do the implicit inverse every time, because then there's no imagination to it. There's no fun to it. It's just, here it is. It's 1-to-1. So let's take the basis here. Vanilla is a very nice and proper woman, and she raised Cream to be polite and well-mannered and respectable and whatnot. So the inverse of that is Vanilla is a very cruel and calculating woman, and she is cultivating the next generation to continue that. Cream is her precisely, meticulously crafted little agent of terror and doom. And in that regard, she absolutely does side with Scourge, because she's sowing discord throughout the world.
Mm-hmm.
And because we're having the renaming conventions run around, instead of cream and cheese, they would be soda and crackers. And that way you get cream soda and cheese and crackers.
Yeah. Cream soda. My favorite. I like it. Here's a question from Axis. So Takeshi Iizuka said in a recent interview with IGN that he's interested in developing a new Sonic Adventure game in the future. My question for you guys is, what 6 characters would you like to see playable in this hypothetical game? Also, what sort of premise would you like for this?
Premise for me is easier, because Sonic Adventure 1 is the origin of the Master Emerald, when you get down to it. Where it came from, what its purpose served, how it came to be on Angel Island. There's a lot of stories going along, and arguably it's really Tikal and Chaos' story when you get down to it, but the Master Emerald is a central plot point.
Right.
Sonic Adventure 2, it's not as prominent, but it's still a pivotal part of the story, in that it's what motivates Rouge to get involved to a degree, and it's the key piece used to stop the Eclipse Cannon. And wouldn't mind a second pass to kind of play up that angle myself, because ultimately what I would want is Sonic Adventure 3 to be the end of the Master Emerald story.
Yeah.
Like, we saw it and Angel Island birthed in SA1 in the past. Bring it to a close in SA3. Whatever the greater story is, bring the island back to Earth. The Emerald is depowered, so it's no longer like a central MacGuffin or it's broken for good. There's no piecing it back together. No matter how much glue Knuckles uses, it gets hidden away in a way that Knuckles doesn't have to keep constant watch over it. Whatever you do, the arc is closed. The Master Emerald's influence has been seen and has been shown and has been told, and we're done. End that chapter.
Yes. And
branch out into somewhere new.
Get Knuckles off that stinking rock. That's really what it all boils down to.
Gameplay wise, I mean, Sonic's obviously one. That's a default.
He kind of has to be there. Knuckles has to be there too.
I really, really, really enjoyed Gamma and Eggman's gameplay, and would be tickled to see another Eggman campaign.
Mm-hmm.
And beyond that, like, I wouldn't mind seeing like Big's style come back as like a mini game on the side, but not a full campaign.
Right.
It'd be kind of neat to see Amy get her own campaign again, but this time more than 3 bloody stages, please.
Yeah.
But, hinge on that platformer puzzle angle where she's moving around vertically, and it's not about getting through quickly, it's getting through smartly. I mean, the Emerald and Treasure Hunt thing that Knuckles and Rouge had, that's kind of a given, but
I mean, I guess you could do, like, instead of 6 characters specifically, you could have different play styles. So, like, you'd have Knuckles and Rouge would have, with little differences between them, they'd have mostly the same play style. And then, Sonic and, I don't freaking know, somebody.
Well, like, I mean, one of the things I keep coming back to is how would you implement Silver again?
Right.
Because he only really had one game with his own unique gameplay.
Right.
And I could see him functioning very similarly to Knuckles and Rouge in terms of a lot of verticality in his stages, and it's more about movement and exploration and less about speed and direct combat. So maybe he could fit in that general playstyle too. Sonic and Shadow, same idea of high speed corridors, precision platforming, and maybe take the route that Team Dark had in Heroes, where Shadow's campaign is more enemy heavy and he's more about combat and breaking things, whereas Sonic is a little more about the movement and the progression. Maybe.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. Maybe he'd fit Metal Sonic in there somewhere as something like it. But maybe like a mix of sort of Eggman's style of gameplay and Sonic or whatever.
And Tails, I don't know, because like the idea in SA1, his whole thing about racing Sonic, or in that one stage Eggman, was thematic to the story. It was Tails kind of stepping out from Sonic's shadow and learning some self-reliance.
Right.
But that's not really super compelling in terms of gameplay, because it's just all the stages you already played, just faster. And learning that route is fine, but to me it doesn't stand out nearly as much as the other characters and their playstyles.
Right.
And then having him tromp around in the Cyclone, I mean, it was there, but I don't really feel like that's Tails' thing. That isn't him being smart, that isn't him flying, that isn't him using any of the skills he learned under Sonic. He's Gamma when you get down to it. So, I understand, yes, he built the Cyclone, so that's showing his smarts, but that's not what I mean. That's not like Amy's stage where you have to figure out the puzzle. You have to figure out where the elements are in the stage to solve said puzzle. That's what I mean by using the character's attributes. So, frankly, I think they should just take the Knights style of gameplay and give it to Tails.
Flying around, yeah. I could see that.
Like, I don't mean to rob from the Knights fandom, but, I mean, we're not really seeing a lot from Knights right now. So, give it to Tails, and then maybe there's like a bonus stage where you play as Knights as the fun thing. And we fought the Nightmares in Lost World. We could do that for SA3.
Sure.
The other thing, and this is where I think SA1 stands out against SA2.
Yeah.
And a lot of stuff that came after, is the individual stories and game styles.
Yep.
Because SA2 is great, don't get me wrong, but it was really unsatisfying first time through playing as Sonic, and now I have to play as Tails, and now I'm playing as Knuckles like twice in a row or something.
The pacing is terrible in SA2. Like it's just bad. And that's one of my main complaints with it, and that's one reason why I greatly prefer SA1 to SA2 is just because, it's more focused. You can at least spend time with one character before all of a sudden just the transition. There is no transition, really. You just kind of get thrown into different characters as you go along, which I appreciate the variety, but at the same time,
So, keep it the individual campaigns and, keep it focused to the playstyles, and that'd be fine with me. Now, if you get like a Canon's Core scenario as your end game,
well, yeah,
there you're switching between styles. That's fine because you've been taught each of the play styles up to that point, and the whole idea behind it is everyone coming together using their different skills. That's something else entirely,
right?
But, and just saying, to end it off, you have to fight some large reptilian thing as Crush 40 rocks out in the background. That's required.
Well, yeah. I mean, it's not... You're going to call it... If you're going to put Sonic Adventure on the box, you got to come with what you need, what makes it a Sonic Adventure game, And
it goes without saying, Chow Garden. But that's just understood.
I need Crush 40. I need Crush 40 in the opening, and I need Crush 40 in the ending. It's important. I need both. Thank you. Yeah, man. I like that one. Got a lot of mileage out of that one. That was good. And we get a question here from Off. You've stated that even if you and the artist of any particular comic are 100% in sync, and they perfectly convey a scene you've written into a visual form, the readers can still interpret it differently than you intended. That said, have there ever been instances where an artist failed to convey what you had written into visual form? Has there ever been a situation where an artist misinterpreted or even outright changed what the script called for?
Oh, yeah, all the time. Mm-hmm. It happens.
Yeah.
Like, I try to be as clear and succinct as I can in the script, but the way I phrase something can be interpreted differently by the other artist, and sometimes it's for the better, and sometimes it doesn't hit the mark, and it's like, well, phooey. And you move on. There's only one particular instance I can think of off the top of my head where the artist deliberately went off script. But I don't want to stoke any internet drama, so I'm just not going to get into it. The point was...
I'm assuming this is someone who's no longer on the book. Or current,
not
or
that
are
I'm
they?
aware.
Okay.
They're not doing anything that I know of. But in this particular instance, I wasn't super beholden to the project at hand, and the point of the story came across in the end. So the editor was like, I am really sorry that this happened, and there is no time to really change or fight this. And I'm like, just run with it. And I know that I would not seek out that person in particular to work on anything. So it goes.
Here's a question from Arcfighter. Ian, you hack of a Sonic fan. Why hasn't the monkey destruction switch from SA1 made a return in IDW yet? How could you clearly forget such an important piece of Sonic lore?
Because the real monkey destruction switch were the friends we made along the way.
I love the fact that it's called the monkey destruction switch. That's literally what it's actually called.
Because it does exactly what the label says.
Exactly what it does. Yes, it is a button. It is a switch that destroys the monkey. But still, it's just very funny that it's that's what it's called.
Dr. Eggman, if I may, why do you have the monkey destruction switch? So I know it's not the Orbinaut destroying switch, you cretin.
Would you prefer it be the platypus destruction switch? Because I can do that.
Somewhere there's just a warehouse full of buttons.
And they're all the same. And when nobody knows what they do. Yep. They destroy different things.
They haven't been labeled yet.
They all look the same, but we don't know what they do. So who knows?
Surge just runs through, slapping every single one of them, tackling.
Over and over and over. The switch destruction switch. Yeah, she hits that one and they all blow up.
Eggman is very confused why his coffee pot just randomly exploded.
Well, I mean, you'd think that would be a common occurrence around Eggman, where things around him just kind of explode. But still. Here's a question from Andrew D. Since Vector's car from Team Sonic Racing appears in issue 48, are we to assume that the events of Team Sonic Racing have happened in the comics continuity? If so, when could it have possibly taken place?
Pre-Forces?
Sure. Why not? Whatever. Wherever you want it to.
Or if you say it came out after Forces, therefore it must be after Forces. Somewhere after Metal Virus Saga.
The true Sonic timeline is the friends we made along the way. Here's a question from Alpha Mono or Yukin. Since the main Sonic cast appear to have unique names for their extreme gear, Blue Star, Yellowtail, Red Rock, Pink Rose, etc., what do you think certain IDW characters like Tangle, Whisper, Kit, Surge, and the others would name their respective gear? Also, what types of gear would they use?
Let's see. Like Tangle, it's been a long time since I've looked at any extreme gear. Wasn't there one that was just like a giant single wheel?
Maybe.
Was there a mono wheel extreme gear? I think there was one in Zero Gravity. But I just imagine Tangle driving one of those and the wheel itself is banded like her tail. Call it the home stretch.
All right.
Now, the Tangle and Whisper miniseries, I purposefully gave Mimic the omnipotence, because it could change into all three styles of gears, because he's a shapeshifter.
Hey!
Give that to Whisper, too, because she's got the variable Wispon, which the whole point is to change its functions, maybe. Or maybe she just gets, like, the skate shoes because she doesn't want to be burdened with a whole vehicle she has to manage. Just get there fast. It's a race, you know. You're not actually trying to take anyone out. Whisper. Whisper. This isn't a mission, it's a race. Whisper!
Yeah, I could see it.
Surge would get something similar to Sonic's board. Call it the Green Nova. Let's see. Kit. I mean, calling it the Tidal Wave is a little on the nose, but so is his name.
I mean, what do you want? What do you want from him, man? He calls it whatever Surge tells him to call it. And that's what Surge tells him to call it.
It was something really inappropriate, but she got tired of the joke, so she said, name it whatever you want. Make it a board, too, and like have like the effect look like it's surfing on water, like it's generating its own water to fly on. Sure, why not?
Interesting. I need to go back to Sonic Riders. I have not played it in forever, so.
Rough and Tumble are unique in that they have their own like motorcycle with a sidecar.
Aha, okay.
And you can change who's driving and who's in the sidecar. It makes no difference.
Yeah, this isn't Mario. This is Mario Kart Double Dash.
But either one of them can drive the crash course.
It's a great name. I like it. Did you do one for Starline yet?
I did not.
Yeah.
And like the thing is, would he have built one of his own, or would he have found that magic carpet that Eggman threw away in the first game? Because darn it, you can't throw away your conquest like that. I will find a way to make this work.
Maybe. Seems like he'd have one of those the scooter type extreme gear that I'm looking at here, the cover. I don't know.
Maybe kick at people with his various barb attacks.
Yeah, that would make sense. He does have those funky clown shoes. I'm sure they're sharp. Yeah, sure. We'll go with that. I don't know what he'd call it, though. It has to be grand, extravagant.
The divine inspiration. Listen to that motor purr.
Yeah. This sounds like garbage. I am not a mechanic. I am an engineer. Oh well. Alex GS is here with a question. How was Charmy adopted by Vector and SBO? Come to think of it, how did SBO and Vector get into business together? With the canon of Knuckles Chaotix under question, and with the characters having undergone some changes since they were in that game, I feel as though we don't know as much anymore in terms of how they might have all come together.
Yeah, there's no official story that I'm aware of. Now, my interpretation, and this is by no means word of God, this is not canon, this is not insider insight, this is me speculating, is that Knuckles Chaotix is canon to the classic timeline, that it is probably softly retconned by the modern stuff, and you can just kind of hand wavy say they met in Knuckles Chaotix and they stuck around as the Chaotix. Maybe?
Might as well, whatever, at this point.
It's not like the most airtight thing in the world, but again, you're not going to be able to make a perfect plot line out of all the previous Sonic material. It can't happen.
This is Sonic. There's nothing airtight about it.
To have the power to just start from scratch, to take all that was good and put it back into a nice, neat, orderly little thing. To have such power. The unlimited power. I'm sorry, we still had questions, didn't we?
Yeah, we got one more. We got one last question for this episode from Sam Cybercat. Starline meets Mama Robotnik. How does that go?
Oh, it's not good.
No, it's not.
It's very bad. You take all the worrisome qualities of what's there already, and then you add mommy issues to it. No. We get real, not all ages real fast. It's no good. It's very bad.
Mm-hmm. The question is, what's worse, Mama Robotnik or Mombot from Boom?
Oh, Mama Robotnik.
I guess that, yeah. Okay.
By a country mile.
Yeah, you're right.
Mombot's just a bit of a nag. Mama Robotnik is a force of nature.
John Gray drawing Mama Robotnik beating Starline. That sounds frightening. Sounds like a nightmare for all of us.
Do not link him to this episode. Do not suggest that to him. Do not put me through what he would create.
Well, you're getting put through it now because you brought it up.
That's it. We're done with this episode. Before we wrap it up, we're going to give a big thank you to all the people who make this show possible over at patreon.com/BumbleKast, Ko-fi.com/BumbleKast, and our YouTube members. Big thank you to Daniel H., Alex P., James K., John B., Jennifer R., Robotnik Holmes, Samuel P., Sam Cybercat, Mike B., Dave M., Coupling Crew 128, Do As Diz Den Off, Andrew D., Salute Your Cat, J. Frost, Scruffy Matt, Hero of Light 13, Chris A., Sony, Ryan D., John M., Noni, Dawn B., Yami M., Lee H. K., and Lisa M., Chevelle, Fiona M., Piggybank, Blue Title Gamer, Invade Turbo Tunis, Ben W., Tick Tick, Sonic, Xanderoni the Painter, Final Neil, Jonathan D., Axis, Nimmer, Solaire Stain, Godzilla, Dabbler the Dalek, Scurvy Pirate Hog, The Name is X, Chaos Universe, Sonic Legacy, Daniel B., Ava Arctic, Pedanti Cat, Dove, Red the Supernamic, Pandolce, Quaggle Gaggle, Chad, Professor Rye, Jennifer H., Les, Cameron H., Sapphire Scarletta, Preston M., Alvamon or Yukon, Arc Fighter, Noah S., Kojira Highwind, Supersonic Fan, Chase L., Nondal, Alex GS, Awesome Cakester, Kimiko, Radri, Callum Q, Shaggy Dog, Jack the Animator, Just a Mountain Soul, Finest Cacophony, Ty H., John the Real Waluigi, Maddie H., Jolene B., KJB, and Tails, Dream Bowden, In Zephyr, Owen BD, Moxter Roosevelt, Light Ubel, The Marble Gardener, T Ranger, Lewis J., Four Sonic Fan, Joshua S., Omega Watt, Agent Kaz, Saving Throws, Navarre, Exadel, Michael P., Ty Cyan, Lemur Chicken, Jamal S., Neo Strife, Rhythm Raccoon, Lacey M., Wild 48, Fenris Asger, Pap, Delta God 77, Dapper Shinks, Miggy Sawdust, Pig Dan 20, Jinx Unlikely Veronica, Spiral Warrior, Lucky Lychee, Angela V., Dr. Meccano, Oz Jam, Miles the Prower, Shimmy M., Starlight, Second Zed Cartoonist, Strawberry Cheesecake, Steph Cube, Speedweed, Scourge Time, Nova Polyduo, Mobius, Kofi Supporter, Madeline Bluestar 7, Joester SSB, Digama, Damien B, Chaos Sonic, Ryoko Shion, Metamode, Danny Light, Frost the White Lion, Agnes S, and Wheels 282 Hedgehog.
Boy, those were some great names in there. Great names, awesome names, excellent names, all beautiful names of beautiful people. Thank you for all your support and everything that you guys do, which includes hitting us with questions, an onslaught of questions every week. Thank you.
That's going to wrap us up for today's episode. We'll see you Friday for the standard edition of the Q&A. Until then, be good to yourselves, be good to each other, and we will see you next time on the BumbleKast.
Bye for now.
Oh, Ian is this Machiavellian plotting genius who's trying to manipulate things. Have you been in his Discord? The man can barely find his ass with both hands and a flashlight.
Have you been in his Discord? He's barely even in there. It's mostly Kyle just flailing and flying by the seat of his pants. Like, what the do I do? You've been listening to the BumbleKast, a co-production of Bumble King Comics and the KNGI Network. Original theme music composed by Ken Coda Snyder. Remixed intro by T-Lopes. Find out more information, along with podcast feeder links, MP3 downloads, and more at bumbleking.com and kngi.org. Are you suggesting we prop up Ian's dead body, Noni? and somehow get the body to answer questions?
You had a whole month to practice with metal, Ian.
Yeah. No, honestly, that sucked. I'll be real with you. Editing that was terrible.
I do appreciate you going through all the effort while I, struggled to breathe.
I mean, I'm sorry you had to go through the whole thing to begin with. It's like, oh no, Ian's gonna die. He has the cancer of the lungs, apparently. Like some people thought you did. You had lung cancer, or you had what's the other one? What's the other cancer people thought you had? Was it colon cancer? I mean, I don't know. It's one of those. Some people were spreading it, spreading the rumors. It's like, Ian's got cancer. It's like, yes.
No, and it just turned out to be freaking cat litter dust.
Yes.
Of all things.
No, it was just a horrendous allergic reaction.